what not to do when planning your child's autism vacation. There are a lot of families who want to go on vacation with their autistic child. There are overwhelmed moms who are like, you know, I'm already overwhelmed on a daily basis with what's going on with my child. And I believe that they see autistic, or they see non-autism families going on vacation, and they try to imagine their own vacation like, and they're like, my kid, that won't work for my kid. And so hopefully my videos are helping you to understand, the do's and don'ts and how to vacation effectively. In fact, I just started an autism travel group, and I'm going to drop that link in the comments if you want to join that group, because I'm going to stop doing videos on my regular page and just do these videos over there. So if you want to share this video, if you want to go over to the group, you want to invite some friends, that would be great. But I'm going to focus my attention on that group because these are people who want to know all the things. So I'm going to give you today 10 tips on what not to do when you're planning your autism vacation for your child. No matter what age your child is, a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old. My son is 26, as you know. His name is Hassan, and he's awesome. And Hassan and I go on a lot of adventures together. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm putting videos and information over there too. I will also drop that link in the comments. Okay, so 10 things. The first thing I want you to know: do not assume every destination is autism friendly. Okay. So how many times have you gone on vacation and you just thought, this is not going to work for our family? Or you don't have a child with autism and you saw a family on vacation and their child was just like, and you're like, wow, I feel for those parents. I'm glad I don't have that issue. But you cannot assume that every destination, every resort, every hotel is autism friendly. Failing to do the research for accessibility, sensory considerations, and available supports can lead to disappointment. So the thing is that you can research all you want, but you're not going to figure this out. Whenever I say that don't assume that every destination is autism friendly, there are some things you can see on the website and some things you can't. But I advise you to go to YouTube and watch videos with parents with children who do these videos, because they'll show you more. They may not even have the information about the resort, as far as autism travel. That's what I'm going to be doing. If you haven't yet already saw, I did a video of my husband and I on a vacation in Mexico a couple weeks ago. And we didn't take Hassan, but I did an autism friendly, rating on what I think, like I did a scale of 1 to 5 on what I think about how autism friendly this resort is. Okay. So I'm also going to drop that link in the comments. The second thing I want you to do is, I don't want you to wait until the last minute to plan for that reason. Okay? I want you to take plenty of time in advance to do your research. You need to watch everybody's video. You want to see all the things. You want to take their criticism with a grain of salt. And I said that in another video. But you need to plan in advance, because you need to know how to navigate the resort, the destination with your child with autism, and decide what will work and what won't work for them. Okay? So whenever I say, oh no, you know what? That's in the next. Okay. The third thing I want you to do is, don't skip practicing or preparing. So for instance, you want to prepare your child for this trip. Don't just say to them, oh yeah, we're going to, Busch Gardens on, next week, or we're going to SeaWorld next week. and it has, you know, animals. They have, you know, whales and fish. It's going to be really exciting for you. That's You can say that to a neurotypical child, but to your child with autism, you got to show them pictures. They got to see what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, depending on your child, they might get there and think that whale is way too big, because at the aquariums and, you know, SeaWorld, they have these big aquariums with these big fish, or they might be excited by it. But let them know in advance. Prepare them in advance, okay? Number 4, don't book nonstop schedules. Okay. Filling the itinerary with back-to-back activities can cause stress and meltdowns. I said in another video, you cannot plan your autism vacation the same way you plan your vacation for yourself or your other children that are neurotypical. Okay? You heard me say in the past that my parents were crazy when we were kids. Okay? We got up before the sun came up. We came back home after the sun went down, and we were on our feet all day because we had to see all the things. And you can't do that. You can't do it. Don't book nonstop schedules. Whenever I'm booking, when I'm planning a vacation with Hassan, we might go to Walt Disney World for 6 days, but we go to one theme park. Last time we went to two, but I wouldn't do that back to back. There has to be a whole day break in the between. If on Tuesday we go to Animal Kingdom, on Wednesday we might just hang out at the pool at the hotel, and then the next day we'll go to the. You see what I'm saying? We're not. It's too much. Even though he's excited about it. That's the thing. Your kid is like, "Oh my goodness, I'm excited to be here. This is amazing. Let's do some more." And you're like, "Let me give you a break." Make sure you take breaks even on the day that you're at the theme park. Okay. I did a whole Disney theme park series about, you know, planning and what to pack and all this stuff. So you have to go on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and watch that. Okay. With that said, number 5 is don't overlook quiet spaces or downtime options. So I don't know about you, but whenever I arrive to my resort, that's pretty much a do nothing day. I don't plan anything on that day. It's travel day, okay? But I always plan to get there in the middle of the day, right around 2 or 3 o'clock. This does a couple things. Number 1, that allows us to be able to check in when we get there. You know what it's like to arrive to a resort, like, you know, at I don't know, 10 a.m. because you want your vacation to start really soon, but you can't check in until 4 o'clock. And so you're kind of like homeless until you can check in. They're like, yeah, your room's not ready yet. It won't be ready until after 4. We'll text you when it's ready. You want to bring your bags over here? Now, the thing is that the cool thing about that is that they'll let you enjoy the amenities. If there's a pool or whatever, they'll let you go ahead and do that. But if they have your bags and your swim suit is in you're digging through your suitcase in this hotel lobby, my plan is to always get there at around 3, okay? And that includes like the flight, you know what I mean, the transport, around 3. And second of all, instead of getting there at dinner time, like listen, I can't stand getting to a resort at dinner time because it feels hectic. It's tired. You're tired. Your child is tired. It's nighttime. It feels like it's time for bed, especially if there's a time difference. And, you know, everybody's hungry because it's dinner time. You still got to check in. You got to hurry up. You get there around 3 o'clock. You get to check in. You get to put your stuff down. You can lay down for an hour if you want. And if you didn't eat lunch yet, you know, you can have a late lunch. You can have a snack. And you literally have the rest of the day before dinner, some hours before dinner, if dinner is at 6 or 7, to kind of navigate the space. This is when I want you to take the time to look for quiet spaces or downtime options on the resort, in the property, in your room. If you get to your room and before you go in, you look down the hallway and you see that it's in front of this loud elevator, or it's by, I checked into a hotel room. I went to go visit my mother-in-law a year and a half ago, and I was at a hotel near her house. And what I noticed is that on the same floor was a conference room. It was like I don't know, 8 or 10 doors down, but it was a conference room. And it wasn't until 10 o'clock that somebody rented that room for a party, and there was a DJ and people, and do a walk around. Because if you get to your room and you find out this isn't going to work for us, go to the front desk. I've done it. I've done it. Hassan and I, when we went on our Disney cruise 2 years ago, we flew to Florida and we checked into the hotel. We went down the day before. Don't fly in for your cruise on the day of. That's a whole nother. We'll talk about that in another video. But we flew down the day before. We checked into a resort hotel on the beach right near the port, okay? The cruise port. And, they're like, yep, here you go. Here are your keys. Your room is in that tower. Go down the hall and the elevators will be to the left. We're like, cool. We walked and we walked and we walked and we walked. And we got to the hotel and we got off the hotel on the 8th floor and we walked and walked some more. And before I even got to the room, I was like, this isn't going to work. It's too far. We're just staying one night. Tomorrow morning, we're going to get up and go get on our cruise ship. Doesn't matter. I said it's too far. Went down to the hotel lobby, the counter, hey, can you give us a closer room? And they did it with no problem, okay? And that's another tip. Number one was don't assume every destination is autism friendly, but you can do things like that to make it autism friendly. You know what I mean? If it's too far, it's too far. If it's on the top floor and you don't want to be up that far, if you want to be on the bottom floor, you know what I mean? Tailor your vacation to what your family's needs are. Okay. So whenever you walk around the hotel, you want to make sure you know where the cushy, couches are and the quiet places. The hotel that we stayed at for our before our cruise, I didn't like it because it was loud. It was loud. It was flashy. There were lights. We stayed at Fontainebleau, and if you look that up, it's in Florida. It's on Collins Avenue, I guess, like all the other Miami hotels. But we stayed at Fontainebleau, and it would have been great if I was going down for with a group of girlfriends. But for my child with autism, there was too much going on. Okay, so in places when you get to your hotel, find the quiet spots in case your child needs a break. They don't even have to have a meltdown for them to need a break in a quiet, secluded area. So keep an eye on that. Okay. Number 6, don't ignore transportation challenges. Okay, so travel day is exhausting for everybody. Okay. And so that's why I don't plan anything. The only thing I might plan is dinner, but I don't typically plan a dinner reservation on travel day. I don't know if our flight's going to be delayed. I don't know if we're going to get there late. I don't know if we're going to get there and the hotel is going to deny my booking and we got to go somewhere else. Like, I don't know you know what I mean? But transportation challenges, you need to know in advance what kind of transportation you want to take when you get there. Okay? So, if it's you and your spouse or you and your girlfriend, you and your mom, you're traveling by yourself, the two of you, and you figure, well, once we get to their airport over there, we'll I don't know, catch a Lyft or an Uber or cab. It's whatever. You need to know in advance what you want to catch. So if you know you want to, for instance, if you know you want to catch a cab, for us, when we go to Miami, the easiest, oh, no, I don't want to say that. We have caught a cab, but the thing is that I knew in advance where the cabs were. So you get off the flight. You're in an unfamiliar airport. Maybe you've been there a couple times, but for the most part, it's not your home airport. You don't know it as well. But if you know you need to catch a taxi, having to run around and you thought it was here, but it's over here and the signs don't make sense. Now you're asking people, your child might be irritated. You want to know that in advance. When Hassan and I went to um, Disney, I don't know how many years ago, maybe in 2021. I ordered a black car. I did. I ordered private transportation. When we got off the airplane, we went to baggage claim and we came down the escalator. Or yeah, we came down the escalator to to baggage claim. There was a guy in a black suit with a hat on with a sign that had my name on it. That was the easiest way to train. Listen, I don't have to worry about the cab guy. I don't have to worry about renting a car and where to go and navigation. That was the easiest. If you can put that into your budget, this is one of the reasons why you want to plan your vacation in advance, because you want what you want when you want it and you want it to be available. So the only way to know that is if you plan your vacation in advance. Number 7, I want you to not forget to plan for transitions. Transition. So like for instance, say you're at your hotel and you guys have a good night's sleep, okay? And you wake up the next morning, you take your time, and you go to breakfast. And at breakfast, you tell your child, guess what? Get excited. We're going over to the Disney park. We're going to Magic Kingdom, and you're going to see Mickey, and you're going to see the big castle, and it's going to be amazing, right? And you finish up your breakfast, and you go outside, and you stand there, and you wait for the tram. And your child's like, this isn't the park. I thought you said we were going to the park. Because you didn't tell them about having to wait 20 minutes for that little Disney bus. And they're like, this is not what I expect. This is a transition. You're going from the resort, from breakfast to the park. That's at least a 1 hour situation. Prepare your child for transitions. Okay? Even when you're in the park, if you get off of, whatever ride, and you guys have a plan of what you're going to, what attractions you're going to hit today, and you get off of whatever ride, and your child knows that, I don't know, the teacups or Dumbo is next. They're thinking, okay, well, you get off the ride and they say, well, what's next? And you're like, teacups or the Dumbo is next. And they're like, okay, cool, let's go to Dumbo. And you're like, well, wait a minute. We need a bathroom break. We need a water break. And your kid's like, you said listen, kids with autism are different. Okay? They will hold you accountable to what you say. You know what I mean? So when you get off of your ride and you want to go to Dumbo, don't tell them that's where we're going next. Tell them, well, we're on our way we're going to take a bathroom break first. And then we're going to get some water. Because that whole situation in itself could take 45 minutes. Just because you might need to find the bathroom, you might need to stand in line when you get to the bathroom, and then whenever you get to the water cart guy, or you might need to find a little shop, a little Disney shop that sells water. You go in there, it's crowded. You might want to look around. You got to stand in line. That like the whole, and then you got to walk to wherever the Dumbo ride is. That's 45 minutes, easy. That sounds ridiculous. It's 15 minutes to go to the bathroom. It's 15 minutes to get your water, and it's a 15-minute walk. That's 45 minutes easy. And your kid is over here like, I'm having a meltdown because it's already hot in Florida. And you told me we were going to listen. Kids with autism are different. They will test. Be organized whenever you're talking to your kid. It's going to make life easier. Okay? Yeah. Don't forget about those transitions. Number 8, don't forget to have a plan for meals and or snacks. And when I say a plan for meals, I think, and this is my assumption, I'm gonna talk to you about what I think I saw at the parks. Okay. Parents will get off of a ride and they go, okay, that was great. You guys like it? Yeah, I mean, you guys hungry? What time is it? Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we ate. You guys want to eat? What do you feel like? Where do you want to go? What's going on? If you have a plan for what attractions you want to hit that day, you need to decide, we're going to do this attraction, we're going to do this attraction, and we're going to do this attraction. After attraction 3, we're going to eat. Okay? I don't know what time it's going to be. You're not on a schedule, but you need to have a plan. Having a plan and having a schedule are two different things in this situation. You don't need a schedule. A schedule is from this hour to this, from this time to this time. But after attraction number 3, you can guesstimate that it's going to be time to eat and we're going to be hungry. Where is attraction number 3 at in the park? Look at the map. You got access to it at home before you arrive to the park. What eateries are around there? What restaurants are available? Did you look at their menus? You got to have a plan. Everybody has their little backpack. Have snacks in that backpack because, okay, we want to avoid. We want this to be easy as possible. Okay, have a plan. I never made lunch reservations. I made breakfast reservations before we would go to the park, and I made dinner reservations at the park because we want to eat at nice restaurants. I don't want chips, chips and fries or burgers and fries all day, every day, whenever I'm in Florida. My kid needs vegetables. My kid needs variety. Okay, now there's not, he only eats certain foods, and we know this. That's why you have to have a plan. What food, what restaurants, what eateries have the food that your child needs? Okay, and be careful not to just continue to feed them, fried foods the whole time because it's what's convenient. It's not convenient. That's why you plan in advance. I have a picture on my website of Hassan and I having dinner at Epcot in the French restaurant, and on his plate he had rice, chicken, and vegetables. He had a roasted chicken. And the reason why we were able to eat at that restaurant is because I had a reservation months in advance. So that is the one thing that I do schedule. I'm like, okay, whatever's going on in the park, our dinner reservation's at 6. So we just watch the clock so that we can have a sit down. Maybe you don't like sit down restaurants. Maybe that's not your thing. Oh, we'll just grab something with your autistic child. It's not a good idea because if you do decide at the park, you know what, let's go to a restaurant and you don't have a reservation, Disney doesn't play that. They don't play. You cannot just walk into some random sit down restaurant at any Disney park and just think that you're going to get a reservation or a table. Yeah. And unless you want whatever, burgers and fries or pizza or, whatever, chips and, whatever, fish and chips, you're going to want to plan that out. And even if your plan for lunch is not a reservation and you plan after attraction 3, we're going to use the bathroom, wash our hands, and we're going to go and eat. These are the restaurants that we have access to. I looked at their menus already. Got it. All right. Number 9, don't assume every attraction will work for your child. Now this sounds like common sense, right? Not necessarily. I told you the story about Hassan and Bug's Life at Animal Kingdom in the Tree of Life. He doesn't do 4D. He doesn't do 3D. Don't give him those glasses. He doesn't want bubbles hanging, dripping from the ceiling and drops of water and puffs of smoke coming up at his chest. He doesn't want it. Okay, that's not going to work for him. I know that in advance. But I think it's at Magic Kingdom. They have is it Magic Kingdom or is it at Disney's Hollywood Studios? They have Mickey's Philharmonic, and that sounds exciting. You go into the theater, it's dark, the curtain opens, Mickey is, conducting an orchestra, and it's great. But find out. There is actually an autism, a sensory attraction guide. I'll find it. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to put it in my group. How about that? If you're in the group, then you'll get it. But there is a Disney sensory attraction guide where Disney lists every attraction, every ride, every show, and they tell you what the sensory level is. And it'll say, well, this one is on this level because it has bright lights and loud noises and explosions or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm going to post that in my group. I'm going to make a note of it. So if you're in my group, you'll see it. And I mean, you can find it if you want to. If you can, good luck. But it'll be in my group, okay? Um, and number 10, don't forget to review policies in advance. This is important, especially at a Disney park, because, for instance, Disney parks have the pass, the Disability Accessible Services Pass, or something like that. I don't know what the acronym spells out. But it allows um, people with special needs, disabilities, to be able to skip the line if they are, if they're disabled, for. But make sure you know those rules, because there are some. I'm going to post that in my group too. But you have to know what the rules are. The rules are that you have to, in advance, you have to be approved for it. And then even when you use it in the park, you can only use one ride at a time. So you can't go up to a ride and say, hey, I'd like to use the DOS pass. Please let us know what time to come back. And they're like, okay, come back in 2 hours. And you're like, okay. And then while you're waiting for this ride, you go to another ride and say, hey, I'd like to use you have to complete you know what I mean? You have to know the rules. If you, for instance, if you know you need a stroller or a wheelchair in the park and you don't want to drag your own and you want to use what they have, know that they're like $15 or $20 to rent, and know that you are in your best interest if you do a reservation, because you'll get there thinking you'll just grab a wheelchair and they'll be all gone. Okay, so just stuff like know the rules. Do your research in advance, and that's what I mean. Okay, and those are the 10 tips. But I have a bonus tip: don't compare your vacation to typical families. Just don't do it. Don't think that your kid is necessarily going to be in the mood to stand still and smile pretty with Minnie Mouse. Okay, don't assume that everything is going to go as smoothly as you want. But hopefully, these tips will help you minimize the issues and the meltdowns and all the things. Okay? Again, I'm going to drop those links in the comments. I hope you have a fabulous vacation. Let me know what vacation you're planning and when. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.